a very warm welcome in this journey to the course Entrepreneurship and IP Strategy. I am Gauri Gargade, Professor at IIT Kharagpur. I hope and anticipate that you have got the chance to go through Assignment 0. I am sure that you have browsed through the complete course structure and the coverage. Today, we will try to walk through the detailed course structure and the overall planning for the 8 weeks. We will see that how we are going to be engaged for next 8 weeks. Here we start. So, the first question in your mind probably is like this, that how much time I have to invest for this course. So, it is just 2.5 hours each week. So, few questions probably you have thought about, like what is IPR, what is patent, trademark, industrial design or plant protection, then whether my work is coming under any IP category, that is an important question. The next important question you might have thought is like how I can protect that IP. Then what is the life of patent or a trademark or industrial design? That is another question you probably have thought about. Then what is IP portfolio? Then what is prior art search? What is infringement? So these are the few questions probably, or many more probably you have thought about. We will try to get answers to these questions. And a few more things probably you have heard about, like bank loans and intellectual property, or maybe you have maybe you come across like insurance and intellectual property. So a few things like a few domains or subdomains of IP which are very important and which are used extensively are like this: patent informatics or patent analytics, then there is a IP portfolio, then there is a IP audit, then there is like a IP patent role, then there is a IP valuation, then there is like a IP and bank loan, then IP insurance is there, then there is a patent ticket, then IP strategy, IP management, and then probably you might have heard about technology transfer and a cross licensing. So these are the few terminologies probably you have came across. So if we get the chance, we can just touch base upon these terminologies also. So here I will share some more information about IP and organization. You come to know that okay, these are the few terminologies. Then you come to know about okay, few questions probably are there. Now we will just see about a few organizations. So you can see here IBM. IBM is like, if you see in 2017, you see that the patent granted to IBM, the number is like a 9,000 plus. In 2016, that patent grant is 2090. Obviously, IBM is from USA, and we know the products which are dealt by the IBM, that is a data management, IT services, and so on. Now, if I give you the analogy of this IBM with the Indian scenario. Now, if you see here that Indian residents applications, if we see in 2017, I am talking about the Indian resident application. Now, on the here IBM, you have seen that in 2017 there are 9,000 plus patents are granted. Indian residents applications, if you see that there are total 15,500, and if you see the granted patents in India in 2017, 13,045. I just want you to ponder upon that whole India population of 1.3 billion and the patents which are filed by Indian residents, you just see the number, and the total granted Indian residents and non-residents together, that number is 13,000 plus. So you can just imagine, if we compare USA with India, what is a big gap between India and USA. Only one organization is good enough to file number of patents which are almost equal to the Indian residents who are getting granted patents in 1 year. So you can appreciate that big gap. So this is a good example. I will just cite to give you idea that you can just see how that big gap is there and what a time or how fast we have to catch up with this IP. A few more examples I can give. Samsung is there. So Samsung, if you see about the Samsung, total patent grants in 2017 are 8,000 plus, and in 2016 it is 8,470. Company is from South Korea, and you know that mobile phones and television is a product. Next is LG Electronics. If you see LG Electronics, 2017 grants are total 44,000 plus, then patent grants are about 4,013. Again, the company is from South Korea, and the products are mobile phones, televisions. Now, I just take you to a trademark valuation. I have just given you about information about patent. Now, I will give you the information about a trademark. See the examples. Microsoft, it is a, if you see the trademark valuation of Microsoft, it is a $56 billion. If you take IBM, trademark valuation is $50 billion, and Google, $47 billion. Now you can just imagine that, okay, patent is giving this much worth, trademark, only trademark is giving this much worth, and I am giving you another example now about a copyright. Everybody knows J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter. Do you know how much that net worth of her is, which is she got from that royalty? It is a 1.15 billion. So that is a worth J.K. Rowling having through the copyright. Now, so these are the few examples, and these are good enough to appreciate we are in a knowledge era where creativity, innovation, invention, IP are making or are having major role, and they are there for wealth creation. So the time is gone that countries used to fight with weapons. Now the concept of war is changed as biowar, where biological materials are used, technology war, where technology is used, and now please know that if you are fighting with a technology, you will require IP, and you will require legal instrument, that is a IP protection. So, are you ready to explore and apply that knowledge gained through the course? You will get that idea about what is IP, how you can do the protection. So, you just be ready with this. You be ready with your venture idea and plan, and just immediately apply that thing, and probably that will help you for a wealth generation. So, let us start to get the idea about how we are going further. So, you will ask what background I will require to go through this course. So, answer is no specific educational background is required, no educational restriction is there, no age restriction is there, or professional restriction is there. Only requirement is you are or you must be passionate about your venture. So, anybody, students, teachers, scientists, startups, MSMEs, corporations, non-teaching staff in the organization, anybody, means institutes, anyone can take this course. So, how the course plan is? So, here there will be a video lectures. How many? So, as this is a 8-week course, there are total 40 videos, and probably each video will be about 30 minutes. Now, 5 to 6 videos will be there per week, because we have just said that it is a time that it will be just 2.5 hours per week that you are going to spend. So this is about videos and time you will require to spend on this course. Now, next important thing is how we are going to communicate with each other. So there are 3 ways by which we can communicate. The first way is like a discussion forum. So this is probably when you have gone through the assignment 0, you might have browsed through the complete web page, and you have probably visited discussion forum. So you can post your queries and questions when you are going through the video. Probably you may face some questions. You can write there, and we can discuss over that discussion forum. Then interactive session is there. So probably you may have some questions, and for that little more explanation is required, and you require some discussion, and that kind of scenario is there. Or maybe you want that live interaction, then you can use this interactive session. The next is an email. So if you feel that you want to communicate by email, here is an email, and you can just communicate with through this mode also. Now, what you will get for the reading or something like that, we are hosting here reading material. Probably you will get, we will just host in a, that you just go through that reading material. We will refer you whenever we are going through the video. We will refer that, okay, you read this material which is was hosted in the reading material folder, so you can refer in that particular way, and that will be very useful to you. Then yes, we are giving you some assignments. Yeah, that is compulsory. So some MCQ type of questions are there. 10 to 15 questions will be there, and the objective of assignment is like this, that whether we are able to convey concepts of the subject to you. So that will be like checking that particular thing. So we can keep a little bit flexibility for you for the submission, but it is suggested that you try to answer that assignment. Then there is an examination, and then there is a, obviously if you do that successfully, you will get the certificate. So you can get the details on the website also. Then one more thing, and that is a very interesting, that is a internship is there. So the candidate who scores highest mark, he get the chance to visit IIT Kharagpur, and he can do an internship here. So, and that will be a good opportunity for you to just what we can say, to get the exposure of a IIT. Now, let's look into the weekly course structure. So, broadly I have given you the idea about complete course plan and how we are going to interact and what is the mode of complete what we can say 8 weeks. Now we will go a little deeper in a weekly plan so that you can get idea what we are covering in each week. So if you see that first week, it is like a introduction to entrepreneurship and intellectual property definitions and concepts. Now what we are covering in this first week. So here we will cover what is an entrepreneurship, what do you understand by IP, then next is like whether entrepreneurship and IP are related, what is the role of IP strategy in entrepreneurship, and we will share with you one case study about IT industry. Probably we will share with you Google story. That is a very interesting story, how Google organization started and what is the role of a patent especially there for the inception and development of that organization. So this, what we can say, this week will be dedicated to entrepreneurship and IP, and you will try to understand the relationship between both. One module on what do you understand by IPR is to give you idea, just overview of different types of IPR. As many times people use word patent and then copyright and then industrial design interchangeably. So with this video, you will get that idea that yes, these are the different types of IP and these are totally different. So that at least you will clarify in after going through this video. Then case study we are planning because it will be a good idea if you see that how one startup it is starting with what we can say one patent and how it becomes a giant. Google is an example. Now next is like a next week 2, and it is like a innovation and entrepreneurship. And we know that innovation, invention, creativity, these are the 3 different things. We should understand what this differentiation is there. So first module is dedicated to understand that concept like what is innovation, creativity and invention. Then we will see different types of innovation. Its idea is like you should know, okay, these are the types of innovation, probably I am following that particular thing in my venture. Then there is an innovation, market and IP. What market, how market is playing role in that innovation. So that also you will come to know in this video or in this module. Then open innovation and IP. Yeah, this is a very important concept, and you are already exposed or you are using that particular thing in a certain way, but you will maybe not be aware that yes, you are a part of open innovation, you are participating in that activities like hackathon. I am just giving you the example. Okay. Then the last one is a case study. We are trying to cover case study in next another sector, that is a biotechnology. So probably we will share with you a Biocon story here, and you know that it is an Indian organization, and Ms. Kiran Majumdar-Shaw, she is a what we can say billionaire entrepreneur, and she started this organization. So this is a very inspiring story we will share with you, and how patents are playing role to what we can say that for in Biocon journey, how that patents are playing a role, that you will come to know when you will go through this case study. Now next is like a week 3 that is completely dedicated on trademark, and that is a trademark and entrepreneurship. Now this week onwards, like from week 3, we are dedicating every week very specific to one type of IP. So this week is for trademark. We will cover trademark definition, then trademark types, then trademark registration, then trademark infringement, and then lastly again the case study. And we are planning to share with you one case study in textile sector. So that way you will get the idea how trademark is playing important role in entrepreneurship. And I have already shared with you the valuation of a trademark. Now moving further, week 4, it is about a patent and entrepreneurship. And patent is what we can say among many types of IPs. Patent is like it is taking a major role, and we will see how that what is that patent and how it is useful in your venture. So patent introduction is there, then patent infringement, and then the patent strategies. So we have dedicated 2 sessions to patent strategies, and then the last one is like a capsule version. So what is the concept of capsule version? What generally we do when you finish 4 weeks, probably you are interacting through interactive session, discussion forum. Then what we do, there are some questions we may not able to answer on discussion forum due to certain reason. Then what we do, generally we select such questions and then we try to answer that questions to this capsule version, because much elaboration is required many times, or that forum there is a limitation that we may try to convey you, but you may not able to convey by that writer. So we try to give you examples and explanation in this capsule version. So keep writing your questions on a discussion forum. Then the next week is a dedicated to copyright. So week 5 is a copyright and entrepreneurship. So whole week we will deal with a copyright, and it is expected that if you are planning to register your own copyright, you should able to do that registration after going through this week. So copyright definition and subject matter. Then next is a copyright and what are the related rights. Then copyright registration and entrepreneurship. Then copyright infringement. And yes, copyright is related to publishing and film industry, and therefore we are giving you one film industry case study here in copyright week. Next, like a week 6, here we are dedicating it to industrial design. So it is an industrial design and entrepreneurship. Here we will cover like a definition and concept, then like what are the key factors or key features of Industrial Design Act, then industrial design and business, how it is related, industrial design and infringement, and then the case study about a automobile. Because if you see the various designs are very nice designs, that designs you can see of cars, and this is a very good example. Probably we will cover a Tesla, that how that Tesla is using industrial design along with the patents, because Tesla is also aggressive in patents, and we will share that particular thing. Now next is a IP strategy and entrepreneurship. So after going through individual IP and a related strategy, we will try to what we can say relate all this together and your venture. So here we will try to give you idea about a IP strategy for a startup and MSME, how you can use that particular thing. Then what are the different IP transactions that we will share with you. And then we will take you to IP valuation, bank loans and insurance. Probably you need some funding, and then IP will be your good source for funding. And then we will try to share with you a success story and business model of some startup. Then we will see the case study in a pharma domain or a agricultural domain. So any of the case study from any of the sectors we will try to share with you. Now the next is like a week 8 for a government initiatives, because you know that this week entrepreneurship, we have a lot many what we can say activities and policies government has initiated. So we will try to share with you few ideas about that. So first is like incubators and research parks. Second is various government policies. then we will try to see that how entrepreneurship and IP strategy are related. We will try to see that integrative approach, and then again the second capsule version we will see. And now last one, that is the most important, that am I ready to venture my startup? Because you will apply all the learning in the course, and you will try to apply that to your venture. So that will be like a exact application of this learning to your venture. So you will be ready like all IP and your startup, and maybe you can just then start your own venture immediately after going through this. Or you may have doing that activity, probably you will apply this learning to your current activities, whatever you are doing. So this is the complete week, up to the 8 week that course structure is. Now, at the last, there will be what we can say, as I have suggested in the capsule version, we will try to recap, and in the last, that is fifth module, we will completely recap the learning. So you can see that there are 6 case studies, and then you will learn copyright, trademark registration, patent related information, and then the industrial design related information, along with idea about what is innovation, what is IP, what is invention, and then the government initiatives and facilities, whatever government is giving for your IP filing. So I guess that whole information, when you go through this course, it will be like easier for you to plan your IP development and exploitation for wealth creation. So that is all about our course plan. With this, we are coming to the end of this session. So see you in the next session, where we will see that what is entrepreneurship. And here, in the next module, when we will see the what is entrepreneurship, we will touch base upon a few examples rather than bookish knowledge or theoretical knowledge. We will give you a few examples of successful entrepreneurs. Probably that will help you, or that will motivate you to what we can say for your venture. And we will give you idea that what exactly they have used, because they have used IP for their entrepreneurial development, and how they have used that particular thing. So this is about the course plan, and hope to see you in the further sessions, and I hope that you will enjoy the course. Thank you.